Welcome to the Crested Butte Home podcast, and I want to start off by saying I apologize for the recording quality here on the intro as well as on the Real Estate Minute. I am out of town and doing the best I can with what I got, which means that I do not have my normal microphone with me. But getting beyond that, my guest this week is Carrie Jo from Synergy Athlete, and we had an awesome conversation, so don't let this intro throw you off. We talk about her passion growing up and how that led to her successes later on in mountain biking and skiing and her business, Synergy Athlete, and really enjoyed this conversation a lot, so I'm sure you will as well. As always, please subscribe, and you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Crested Butte Home, as well as on the internet, crestedbutteshome.com. So anyway, let's go ahead and get on with the show. Today on Crested Butte Home, my guest is Carrie Jo Chernoff Hicks. And Carrie Jo, tell us a little bit about where you're from.
I am from originally, actually born in upstate New York, and then was raised in Eastern Shore of Maryland, and then moved out to Gunnison to go to college in 1992.
Gotcha. So that's how you got here, was Western. How'd you find out about Western?
Well, back in the day when you had to research colleges, we actually went to the library and we pulled out the guides for colleges in Colorado, and we were just searching for something in the mountains, and had every intention of just doing one semester.
Okay.
And 20-some years later, here we are.
Still here.
Yeah.
So why did you want to come to the mountains for a semester for all of college?
You know, I had done a lot of vacation skiing, and my parents had brought me out west. And,
okay.
You know, even when I had done one semester at a University of Maryland and just wasn't fitting in, and never really felt that way, you know, as far as like that I was just who I was and what I needed to be doing, and just I always thought about these places and Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and had never been to Crested Butte, but, you know, we had skied like Breckenridge and Vail and all the more of the hot spots that you'd heard of. And we're looking at this book, and I'm like, well, there's this college called Western State, and it's near this place called Crested Butte or something. And so talked to my parents, and actually, honestly, I was not doing well. I was getting in a lot of trouble. I just had a lot of energy, and it was being displaced in not productive ways. And my parents were like, yeah, we'll send you out to that little small town. Let them deal with you.
Yeah.
And came out here, and just semester just was amazing, and I just fell in love with all the activities. I spent a lot of time using Wilderness Pursuit down there, and really finding like what activities I loved here, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go back.
Nice.
And then it just built from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you grew up, so it sounded like you grew up coming out for ski vacations. Was that like, what other sports were you into as a kid?
As a kid, I was mostly martial arts and horseback riding, and then dabbled in a little softball.
Okay.
Yeah. But mostly martial arts was definitely a mainstay in my life. And then I showed horses as well. So,
okay. Yeah. How'd you get into karate or martial arts, I guess?
So when I was younger, my dad, there was a dojo about a couple miles from our house. We lived in a real small town, and just happened to have a Ishinryu karate dojo. The Karate Barn is what it was called, 2 miles from my house. And when I was little, my dad took classes there, and we'd go pick them up, and I was like, I want to do this. So when I turned 7, that's how old you had to be, I started in the kids class, and then just took to it, and I think I was 9, and I was in horseback riding, dance, gymnastics, and karate, and my parents were like, something has to give. You need to make a choice. And my father was very big on, when you commit to something, you follow it through. And at 9 years old, he looked at me and he said, you have a choice. If you choose karate, you're in it till you get a black belt or till you turn 18. And at that time, I was still so pumped on it. I was like, I want to do karate. And so I picked karate, and then I would say about a year later, I was going through, we call them the sophomore blues and CrossFit or any kind of activity where, you just sort of start to plateau a little bit.
Sure.
You get a little bored maybe. You still have to put in that work. And I was, a mess. I didn't want to go. I despised my parents for sending me and making me do it. And he said, you made the commitment.
Yeah.
And I was so thankful that he actually did make me stick through, because once I then got the brown belt and started teaching a little bit and training for my black belt, you couldn't keep me out of the dojo. And he built me my whole little dojo at the farm so that I could practice. And I got through it. And so it was a huge lesson for me in life about sticking with things and making sure it's for the right reason. I mean, if 3 years had gone by and I was still feeling that way, then we probably should evaluate and see if it's the right thing. But just getting through hard times and following things through, I think.
It's a good life lesson.
Yeah.
At a pretty young age, it sounds like, too. So, was that before or after Karate Kid, the movie?
That was way before.
Way before.
Yeah. I'm aged, Frank. You should know that.
I don't know. I can't remember. I don't remember exactly, but I remember being into it. But I never did karate. But anyway, so you mentioned before, so you get to Western and you start looking into other sports. So that was like mountain biking. Did you do any of that in out east, or what other sports did you pick up here?
I pretty much, I went straight from, karate and horses, and really dedicated to those two things, and came out here and did nothing with those two things and put all of that energy into skiing, climbing, and mountain biking. I really used Wilderness Pursuit. I thought that was such an incredible program, and I'm so thankful it's still there. And I think it's a huge part of that college, because it really allows students to experience everything the Valley has to offer without having all the gear, and they have people that'll take them. And I was so thankful for that program, because it introduced me to all the different places here to go for climbing and how to do it. I didn't know how to tie a knot or, my first mountain bike was the Trek 830, cantilever brakes and the styrofoam helmet. And I remember going out to Hartman's and saw Kill Hill, and I was like, so we're driving up there, right? And they're like, no, you're going to ride your bike. I'm like, people don't ride their bike up that hill. No, there's no way. And that was my first introduction, and I'll never forget, I saw this woman, and she comes blasting by us, and she's cranking up the hill, and I was like, whoa. Not only do people ride it, but they ride it fast. Yeah. And later I found out that was Susan DiMattei, who was the bronze medalist.
Sure.
And, got inspired. I'm like, I'm going to ride that hill.
So you walked a little bit of it the first time? I probably did. I don't remember, but
I walked a majority of it. I won't lie.
Yeah.
But I was 18, and that was my introduction to mountain biking, and it was through that group. And I would say, out of I really tried to experience a little bit of everything. I did cross country skiing and snowshoeing, whatever trip they had signed up. We'd go. We went to Moab, and went canyoneering, and just kind of fell into, I would say, that the two things I loved were mountain biking and then skiing.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the goals that you've done and some of the events you've done. So we'll stick with mountain biking. So you did Montezuma's Revenge years ago, which doesn't exist, but talk about that and what that race is a little bit.
Yeah, that one really, when I saw that race, I gravitated towards it because it felt just like a cultural experience.
Yeah, I bet it was.
In Montezuma, this tiny little town, and just everything. Who was running it at the time was Andrew Bilecki, and he was actually living in Crested Butte the summer that I did the race. And it just wasn't about the biking. It was about exploration. Yeah. And you climb to 14ers in the race. So you carry your bike up there, and I just was like, out of a 24-hour race, explored the ones where, you know, you have a certain course and you stay on that course, and
Right.
that just didn't really resonate with me. But this, it was like, okay, you do this lap and then you have this next goal, so you're always kind of staying ahead of yourself. And there's not a marked course, so, you know, it required you going over and, you know, pre-riding a little bit, and it just felt really interesting to me.
No, it was a cool event. And
and the fact that they, you know, blew a porta potty up to start, I think that was
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. The start of the race, they exploded a porta potty.
Okay.
And then the first lap is just a real quick town lap, just to kind of get everybody, you know, excited. And my dad was there for it. He ran my support, and Carolyn Yeaton, I think you remember her. And they come around the corner, and the locals of Montezuma, the women were naked with wings on. And my dad said later, he goes, all I was thinking is, please don't let my daughter come around the corner naked. Please don't let my... So I stayed fully clothed for that race. But it was just interesting. It was fun. You rode Loveland Pass, so you switched out your tires and you did a little bit of a road ride.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and then, you know, different people would come in for support. So Gary, my now husband, he hiked the 14er with me, and Carolyn, and so it was just a fun time. And it was, for me, it was a personal challenge. Like, obviously I had no intention of, you know, I wasn't out to win that race. I was just out to stay up for 24 hours and ride my bike with some really neat people and experience a town. And
you weren't out to finish it, because no one ever did.
No one ever did. And
that was the whole deal.
That was the really cool thing about it. It was like, you're not out here to, you know, finish this race. And it wasn't about placing. It was just, it was about doing. And so,
Awesome. Well, then let's switch and talk about skiing a little bit. So you got into competing in the big mountain ski events. So talk about that a little.
Yeah, that was an interesting one for me. Two things. I didn't love skiing in front of people, like lift line, like, you know, if you come down Resurrection in front of the lift lines, I hated that.
You didn't like the Hollywood lines?
No, I didn't like the Hollywood lines. And, you know, learning to ski, which I really feel I truly did here in college. I thought I knew how to ski. I was, you know, an East Coast skier, and but coming out here in the first winter I came, it was huge snow.
Nice.
92, 93, big winter, and definitely got suckered into that. Was how it was going to be every winter. But it was hard. You know, I was following around all these college guys, and they definitely aren't like, oh, here's the progression of terrain. You know, it was like, have you skied head? No, I haven't skied head. Well, yeah, sure. Right. Thinking I'm going to die, you know. And I am embarrassed to say, but I can admit years later that I had, in that first year, taken my skis off and thrown them off of off of a rock and jumped and then gathered my skis.
Don't do that.
Well, don't ever do that. That's never what you do. And they were yelling that to me, but I'm a very stubborn person. And I remember like reaching and grabbing the tree and kind of hovering and then going down. And it was
Where was that at? Do you remember?
It was somewhere in Staircase. I can't remember the exact location, but I was somewhere between like Dead End and I wasn't in Dead End, but it was somewhere in that zone. Yeah. So, and first year, you know, I mean, blacks on the East Coast are not blacks out here. And so, you know, for me, like having those moments, and then I remember that day just feeling so defeated, you know, and feeling just like, but it also motivated me. That motivates me. Like when I can't do something, I want to go back and do it. So, you know, I spent a lot of time just trying to figure out how to ski that stuff and ski lines. And then, you know, I had watched the extreme competitions. It was never something that I ever thought that I would be able to do with my skiing. I didn't grow up racing, and you know, I grew up doing ski lessons, and you know, and so it was mentioned. I was like, well, you're later, you know, I was out of college at this point and was dating Gary at the time, and he's like, well, we're skiing this stuff all the time, you know, you're as good as the girls out there in the competitions, you should try it. And so I was like, okay. two things I hate: skiing in front of people and a lot of people, and then being judged on your skiing. Like they're actually going to say how well they think you're doing. Right. And then skiing those lines. So putting those two things together, I was like, yeah, it's a good challenge. I should do it. I'm uncomfortable with it, so I should do it. And it was the best thing for my skiing and my confidence and life lessons. You know, just trying to find a line that really suited me, that wasn't meant for other people. And so, I just kind of went with it and had some success with it. And
right off the bat, or?
Right off the bat, so we had the competition here. It was my first comp, and of course, you know, local advantage. It was our mountain. And I got second, which at that time paid some pretty good money. And then Gary, who we were in a pretty serious relationship, got first.
I thought that year was your first. I guess I never realized that.
That was the first comp, and so we earned enough money to put a down payment on a house. That's
awesome.
So that's how we got our little place in Pitchfork that we're still in.
All these years later.
And so I was able to, you know, do that competition, and at that time, sponsorship was a little bit easier, and people were into the competitions, and so I secured a few sponsorships and was able to travel with it and have some fun. And really, that whole time in my life was about meeting new people, going to new places, challenging myself to do something maybe that I wouldn't do on a normal, you know, day, or to do it the best I could. And how can I compete with some of these women that have been skiing their whole lives and racing and have this amazing technique? And so it really just made me evaluate and analyze skiing and just be out there every day, which I loved anyway. It was a good challenge. It was a good goal. And like I said, it was a vehicle and tool to just get around to some really cool places and secure some of the long-term relationships that I still have to this day.
It's definitely a brotherhood and sisterhood out there for sure.
You were there.
We
skied in our Eider corduroy together.
For sure. I still do. Sweet. But do you still not like to ski in front of people? Is Rezo like, I'm going to go?
No, I love it.
Okay.
Cool. I love it. I love to, you know, ski with my daughters now too, and you know, so I love to. It's so cute because it's, you know, if you're a parent around here and you've been skiing with your kids since they were 18 months, and you know, they're ripping these lines, and it's so fun when people that don't have that experience and that lifestyle see your kids, you know, and then you hear them, and they're not hooting and hollering for me. They're hooting and hollering, you know, they're like, oh my gosh, look at that little peanut, you know. So that's fun.
Probably ripping down headwall already a long time now. But, let's take a quick break. On this week's Crested Butte Real Estate Minute, I wanted to talk about the market in general as we get to the end of 2018. And what you'll find is 428 sales totaling $228 million. At the same point in the year in 2017, it was 407 sales, so just a tiny bit less, and $235 million, so just a tiny bit more. All in all, quite similar. We are seeing a lot more land sales this year, so that's got a big part to do with it. The other thing that I would mention is that there just isn't a lot for sale. So if you are a property owner and you've been considering selling, now it is actually a great time, and I would certainly recommend going ahead and listing your property if that's what you're thinking about doing. My name is Frank Consella, and CrestedButteRealEstateAgent.com is my website. You can find my contact info there. I'd love to chat with you if you are looking into buying or selling in Crested Butte or in Gunnison. Let's go ahead and get back to the interview. Okay, so let's transition now, and now you're probably most well known for being the owner of Synergy Athletes, so talk about that.
Oh, that's my other child. That's my passion. That's where I get to express who I am as a person. I've always, at a young age been teaching. So I started teaching martial arts when I was 12 or 13. I had my own kids class and started teaching fitness classes right around then too, all the way back to, I'm about to date myself, jazzercise and some step aerobics. Thank God there was not social media back then, because there was some great outfits.
Some leg warmers and all that.
Some really good looks, yeah. But to be honest, at that time, and even into my college years, I never thought that it would be my career. My dad is a gym owner. He's had some form of a gym my whole life. It started out at our farm, the boxing gym, and transitioned into an old bus station, and then now he has an 11,000 square foot facility.
Oh, wow.
And it's all nonprofit, and he works with a lot of at-risk youth and in our community. But I just saw the amount of work, blood, sweat, and tears. You have to really love what you do to own a gym, because you're not making millions of dollars. But every day you get to go to a place that you love and do what you love, which is helping people create more health and wellness in their life and get them moving better and enjoying what they do in life better. And that translates not only into their fitness, but into who they are as a person. And you see them taking the successes that they have with you and doing other things in their life, which is really cool.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. And I really like, I have the youth program and the teens, which for me is like, if I can make the impact on their movement and their personalities, getting them just to understand that, like, if you really want something, you got to work for it. How to be hungry and humble, that was always from karate, a characteristic that has really stuck with me through the years, and just staying dedicated and committed and being kind. We have a value of the day every day that the kids come in, and it's something, whether it's humility or friendship or kindness, and then we try to take that value and add it into the workout. So whether it's a team workout or how can I support other athletes in the gym. And so I really feel like I have a platform to help influence these kids and who they are as people in our community, and when they go out into the real world, some valuable tools. So
hopefully some lessons to stick around.
Yeah, so that's my one end of the spectrum, and then I've just really started to get into, I would say in the last couple years, the other end of the spectrum, which I call my vitality crew, and that's more of the aging athlete and aging population. So you see so much 55 and older, how important it is for them to move their bodies every day, and how important it is to maintain strength, because we start to lose it as we get older. After 35 years, if you did nothing, your muscle atrophy rate is about 3% a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So, with my middle-aged crew, I'm like, hey, if you understand that number, then what are we trying to do here? We're trying to gain as much as we can, so when we do start that natural progression of aging, which is going to happen for all of us, it's not as big of an impact on our health and wellness. Frank's starting to sit up nice and tall as we start to talk about this.
It's my birthday today, so I don't really want to talk about age right now.
When we're done, Frank's going to come down to the gym because we have birthday burpees that we do.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to guess, are we doing 47? 45.
5. Yeah.
45. Yeah. I don't make the vitality class do that because it could get kind of ugly.
Yeah.
Up into the 70s and 80s. But we always do some special workout around that. So yeah, that's been really profound for me to see the impact it's having on them and their quality of life, and hearing like, oh my gosh, I hiked this and I never felt stronger, and just daily function is better. It's like how long can we delay that just kind of degradation of our bodies, and how long can we delay the nursing home?
Right. So what are some, well, all right, there's a few things. What's the most rewarding thing about Synergy? You kind of were just in that zone, but
it's the relationships.
Yeah.
It really is. And just, like I said, kind of that impact on people and having a place. I take pride in my place. And I keep it super clean for all of our athletes because I feel like it's almost like, it's their zone. I would never call it a temple, but I definitely see that as, a place that people come when they're just having some struggles, and to be able to walk back out of there feeling better than when they went in. And we've had, some hard things happen to some of our members and family members is what I call them, people losing parents and brothers, and to hear I just was so thankful to get back in with my Synergy family. So for me, that's been the most rewarding, is not just the relationships I create myself, but the relationships that they create with each other and the support that they show each other. So in having a place that people can come and hearing them, support each other in workouts and tell each other, oh, hey, I used to struggle with that. And then, I did this and it really helped. And so, seeing just, like I said, just the people and the relationships and...
No, and I think that, maybe temple's too far, but it is at the same time. I mean, I am that way. If I am stressed out or whatever, I need to go ride my bike or go skiing. And that's one of the things, I think, why so many of us live here is to have that opportunity. But especially in the off seasons or just timing wise, a quick trip to your gym is probably the same.
Yeah,
same
it is.
idea.
And I think too that, they always know it's like, okay, at 5:00 there's going to be a crew in there. And, for people that struggle maybe even with, some depression or, seasonal affection disorder where, right now it's dark at 4:00.
Yeah.
And to know hey, I'm going to get out of my house. I'm going to go get some endorphins flowing. I'm going to see some people that I just adore and have fun with. It helps. And then we all just kind of get excited about what's next. Okay, winter's coming, and it's there's nothing better than, for me, pre-season, a great squat session with all my friends that I know I'm going to be skiing with soon. So there's that motivation to just be strong for our sports and life. And
it's a CrossFit gym. So why CrossFit?
So that's an interesting one. CrossFit came about in the early 2000s, and I definitely was a little bit of a naysayer.
Okay. Wow.
Yep. I looked at the programming, and I didn't really understand it. So it was very easy for me to kind of just say, okay, it's not what I do. I don't understand it, and so I don't think it's good.
Yeah.
But then when I really started to dive into it and saw what it really was about, which is training functional movements with varied intensity time domains, it made a whole lot of sense to me. And my first CrossFit workout I did, it was right after that, probably 2003 or 2004. It was one of the first gyms that had opened in Boulder. And I was a fitness instructor, and from elevation, so I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna show them.
Lay down the law.
7 minutes later, I was laying on my back with my tail between my legs, and I was like, I want to do this. But of course, at that time in my life, I was still. No way that was not my career path. I was a massage therapist. I'm not owning a gym. Again, that was always in my forefront. Never owning a gym. Can't make money. Can't support yourself. And so later, I think it was 2000, don't quote me, but maybe 2007 or 2008. No, it was probably 2010. A couple moved in and started CrossFit. And by then, I had been following main site workouts on the CrossFit website and did kind of some styled workouts like that, but didn't want to own a gym, so was not going to go there.
Right.
But they owned a gym, and I was like, hey, I want to do this. I want to coach. I'm going to get my
instructor.
I'm going to get my level 1. And so I was really thankful that they came in and kind of catalyzed that for me. And then it just, they got to doing other stuff in their life, and an opportunity to build this building came about, and it was kind of, my hand was sort of forced, like, hey, here's the universe telling you, you know what you want to do. Right now you're not able to do it in the capacity you want to do it. Here's the opportunity. Are you going to take it? Or because you're a little scared and you don't think it's what you want to do because you don't want to own a gym, or are you going to go with it? And I'm so thankful I did.
So this, do you think that, like, the ski comps and Montezumas and stuff, do you think that helped you, like, take that step? And
I do, and I think that it goes all the way back to karate, because karate helped me with Montezuma's revenge and skiing, and I did a lot of the same preparations for those events that I did for karate, which was visualization, positive mantras, so that's kind of followed me all along the way. And absolutely, it was like, hey, here's the risk, here could be the reward, but you'll never know unless you do it. And the things, and I really waited, it was like, what is it that's holding me back? And when I looked at it, it was stuff that could have been overcome. It was like, well, I really don't know how to run a business, with that size. I've always been a sole proprietor. And so it was stuff that I knew if I worked really hard that I could make happen. But then it was, well, do you want to work that hard? And, and at that time my kids were a lot younger. But it's really, I kind of buried myself for the first few years, and now, we've come out to a really good place. The kids are older, and, I feel like it was all worth it.
No, I mean, you make a good point. Like, when you're doing a ski comp, you picture your line and you picture yourself flashing it, and maybe the other party is like picturing yourself crashing there. And you probably did the same thing opening the gym. Like, no, this could be really good. All right, maybe it'll go bankrupt, but you got to give it a go. And I feel like, too, with the ski comps, after my kids were born, I felt this need to do some. And I was like, I have to do it. That's who I am. But it really wasn't. I wasn't being true to myself, and I was doing them for the wrong reasons, and they weren't as fun. And I felt out of place. I'm like at the start with like my baby's vomit on my jacket. I hadn't slept, and I'm looking around and I'm like, you're that person, you're the oldest person up here. And not to say that was the reason, but the entire time I was there, all I wanted to do was be home with my kid. And so there was that in starting the gym too. Like, what's the reasons? Why? What is your biggest why in doing this? And at the end of the day, it was like, because I think this is my purpose. And so being so true to who I am really helped me with that. I wasn't opening it because I wanted to make a bunch of money, or for any stature reason, or I want to be a gym owner. It was because I want to work with people down and dirty every day, face to face. I want to fix their squats. I want to get them to do things that they never thought they could do in their life. And then I want them to take it and do other things that they never thought they could do. So, After this time, do you like the business aspect of running the business and doing some accounting, or are you like, can I just go to the gym, please?
I love the fact that I was smart enough to hire a really good accountant. And I love what she brings to me. And that's helped so much. But no. I don't love numbers. I'm learning to love them enough that I need to
actually
keep the business going.
Yeah.
And to make sure that, we can pay the rent and I can pay myself something. And and I am enjoying a little bit of, like, I don't love marketing. I don't love trying to put the Instagrams and the social media stuff out. But I do love our story being told. And so, I do as much of it as I can. But that's not my favorite.
That's what marketing is these days for a lot of people, is the story.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what this podcast is for me. This is the story of the town that I live in. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But well, let's start to switch it up a little bit. You came by my office the other day for a nonprofit that you're involved with. So talk about that a little bit. What's it called? And
Yeah, so one of our members, Rob Harper, who owns Toad Properties, came to me with this nonprofit that he was trying to start, and it's called the Crested Butte Fund. And he goes, Carrie, it's about the kids and the dogs. And so basically it was designed, we have some great nonprofits in this town. We have Living Journeys, we have Tough Enough to Wear Pink, cancer support groups. We really do. The Land Trust.
I believe there's over 200.
But there's a lot. And this one was more for, it's like those small moments in people's lives in our community that come up, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in a bind and I have nowhere to go. And so this one is focused on, like I said, children and then pets. So it's like, hey, I have a dog and he needs this surgery and I can't afford it. You can come to Crested Butte Fund because it's like, this is an urgent situation. Yeah. And you can get an answer within 48 hours, where a lot of nonprofits, it's like, yeah, you can get in their system, but it's a process. Right. And, so we're just kind of here just to fill that void of, hey, I have to get my kids to school and my car just broke down. Gotcha. Yeah. So we have a board, and, we get these requests, and then Rob sends them out, and it's like, right there. Yay or nay? Almost. Yeah, wow. Almost, yeah. Wow. Yeah. So we're really trying to do some stuff around the holidays, and last year, we always do Adopt a Family at Synergy, and now I'm trying to umbrella that under Crested Butte Fund. So the idea is just, to get people that can and have funding, and there's so many people that want to do stuff, and so I find that this is a great avenue for, it's like, hey, I just want to give a couple city market cards, so we always have those on hand, and it's like, I need groceries for the family this week, or, my husband just lost his job. So it's kind of that, our sort of, Oh, that's super cool. Yeah. Nice. So, and we're trying to get, and the reason I was at Jesse's is more of the realtors involved, and it's like, hey, every time you have a closing, throw $100 in the Crested Butte Fund, and just to help with, offset some of the cost of living here, not being close to, hospitals. So, expenses are higher, and so. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that can help us start to wrap it up. And I think your answer to this next question will probably be involved with all the things we've been talking about. But Crested Butte is home for you. So why are you still here? It's my community. It's my family away from my family. And I think so many of us are like that. We move here. We're transient. We leave our real families. They're very far away. I'm still very connected. My parents are actually here right now, and they're even connected with Crested Butte. You know, and my dear friend Lacey has the One Tribe truck, and it's one tribe threads. So all of her clothing is kind of based on that. It's like, we are one tribe, and then we have all these these branches, and so my family is now part of Crested Butte family, and my dad will come in and teach classes, and so I love that we all get it, and we all pick each other up, and it's like kind of that phrase, it takes a village, and I really had this new appreciation for Crested Butte as a community after having children, because it was like, oh, you need that taken care of with your kids, no problem, I got it. And we're not doing stuff because it's like, it's just what we do. We take care of each other, and your kids are my kids, and when they're with me, I'm raising them like they're one of mine. And so that's why I'm still here. I think it's the connections, it's the people, and of course it's the location. My heart beats because of the mountains and raising my children in this simple lifestyle of appreciating nature and the outdoors. And nice.
Where can people learn more about you and the nonprofit and Synergy and everything else?
Yeah, so the Crested Butte Fund does have a website.
Okay.
So they can go there, and they can also...
Is that just crested-butte-fund.com or?
cbfund.com.
cbfund,
yeah.
Okay.
And that's, like I said, Rob Harper was kind of the brainchild of that, and we're all just trying to support and help him, because we believe in it.
Yeah.
But of course, we're all business owners and super busy. So, we're definitely looking for people to kind of come in and help with some stuff. And so that's where you can find out about that. And then synergyathlete.com is my website. And or just come on in and check it out.
There you go. And you guys are located where?
We are at 123 Elk.
That's easy to remember.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I should ask that I didn't?
No. Favorite Thanksgiving food? Turkey.
Turkey.
Yeah.
Okay.
And pie. I can't lie. It's pie.
I would add something as we've been speaking. Have you ever done motivational speaker?
No.
Because you'd be good at it.
I feel like I do it every day in my gym.
Yeah, that's probably the case. But I bet you could bring that elsewhere if you wanted.
That would. If I could inspire someone to do something in their life that helps them live a happier, healthier life, certainly I would. And my dad does quite a bit of it.
Does he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He's really good at it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, one last question. Who else should I interview?
This could take some time, Frank. I will definitely email you my list, but right off the bat, I'm going to go with like my small circle that I just find incredible, but MJ Vosberg, Lacey Wright, who else? Rob Harper, definitely, from CB Fund. I think he's got a great story. And Gary Hicks. If you could get Gary Hicks in here to talk, I would just love to see that interview.
Well, I can make that happen. Can I?
Yeah.
Surely I could make
Hurricane
Gary.
Hicks turning 50 this year. So
I know.
That would be... You could get some
again,
good...
feeling old. If Hurricane Hicks is 50, then...
You guys could have a whole podcast on Chi Beta.
We could. Actually, Brittany is going to interview me because people have suggested that. So we'll talk about that a little.
Okay. All right. I'm tuning in for that one.
All right. Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sitting down.
Thanks, Frank.
See ya.